Neon halos blur outside the car window, sinking into streaks while the dashboard glows a gentle amber. Your head leans back, eyes half closed, following the slow echo of synths that rise and fade. Every traffic light becomes a breathing signal, red to amber to green, teaching the lungs a patient rhythm. Fingers tap against your knee, not with urgency but with quiet curiosity, tracing invisible constellations in the air. The city tries to speak in sirens and crossings, yet the music folds a soft cocoon around each sound. Distant bass from another street becomes thunder, filtered through clouds, harmless, round, and strangely comforting. You watch reflections slide over your hands, water and light rippling across skin like passing thoughts inside your chest. A knot you forgot years ago begins to loosen, thread by delicate thread. The steering wheel moves like a slow pendulum, guiding you along a river of painted lines. No destination is loud tonight, every turn is just another stanza in a wandering song. Words feel unnecessary when the pads bloom and fade, when the hi-hats whisper like rain against faraway windows. Shoulders sink a little deeper into the sea, releasing old conversations, unfinished lists, quiet disappointments. You breathe in the faint scent of vinyl and cold night air. Breathe out everything that arrived today uninvited. Even regret seems drowsy now, curling beside you like a pet that finally stopped pacing the hall. Street names drift past without insisting on meaning, they are only fireflies here and gone. Somewhere inside the chorus there is a promise made of nothing but tone and reverb, weightless yet believable. It says gently stay in this half-lit moment where the past cannot chase and tomorrow will gladly wait. Let the quiet engine hum, cradle every fragile corner of your mind tonight. Soft pulses shimmer like distant satellites above the quiet floor, a private aurora for your thoughts. LED glow paints your fingers in slow gradients while the laptop screen dims to a sleepy blue. A single synth note hangs in the air, trembling slightly, then settles like dust on your skin. You count its echoes instead of worries, tracing the way each repetition grows more gentle. Somewhere in the next room, the clock ticks in polite agreement with the rhythm. You let his tiny hands move without chasing, as if time belonged to someone else tonight. Breaths arrive in pairs, too lightly drawn, edge of hearing a moth against the soft glass of silence. Pieds bloom behind your ears, warm and round, filling the space where stale thoughts used to sit. Brows unlock their folded lines, the forehead turning into open sky after a passing storm. Your spine uncoils along the chair, vertebrae finding their own small distances, respectful and relaxed. Each flicker of melody feels like a fingertip pressing pause on another hidden muscle. Old conversations lose their edges, words blurring at the borders, their gravity gently cut in half. You picture your heart as a low-orbit satellite circling calm seas instead of jagged mountains. Every orbit smooths another angle, polishing the day into a harmless, glimmering stone. In this room, nothing demands improvement. Your unfinished pages rest, breathing quietly beside the keyboard. The bridge arrives without warning, just a subtle brightening, like curtains parting for softer light. You follow, not running, only stepping, bare feet on a hallway of cloud. When the last chord finally dissolves, the silence it leaves behind feels padded, tender, undeniably safe. Stay inside this hush until your heartbeat whispers things. Slowly, the shoulders loosen as the night leans close around our breathing rhythm, quiet and deep. Every restless thought unwinds like a ribbon, falling softly to the floor beside the bed. Your hand, imagine, rests over my heart, warm weight, reminding it to move gently, not race. Inhale the dim blue light, exhale every brittle fragment of the day that tried to stay. Hear the hush between the notes of velvet space, where worries hesitate then disappear. Over the window, distant traffic melts into a single hush, a tide against the glass. Inside, only the lazy sway of melody, brushing skin like a whispering shawl. Muscles, remember, they are not anchors, only water, able to float and drift and release. Jaw unclench, eyes soften, brows let go of their careful storms. Breath curls in long, rounded shapes, a quiet animal finally trusting the dark again. In this small room, time widens, no sharp corners, only rounded edges of seconds stroking past. The mind no longer edits, argues or replays, it rocks slowly, like a dark boat. Heartbeat answers the upright bass, slow and patient, learning the language of unhurried nights. Fingers trace circles on the sheet, tiny moons orbiting a planet of drowsy skin. Nothing demands, nothing insists, even desire turns feather-like, content to glow instead of burn. The past waits outside the door, coat over its arm, willing to come back some other time. Future curls up on the rug, drowsy and harmless, breathing in the dim. Here, only this gentle pulse remains, this shared quiet, this soft permission to be unfinished and still beloved. Let the walls dissolve into distant constellations, tender guardians watching over every unhurried breath tonight. Nothing breaks the fragile silver thread between your chest and the hush that holds it steady. Here we stay. Here we stay.
Midnight elevator hums a low chord as you ride up, eyes fixed on numbers. Glowing fluorescent buzz softens under headphones, where a gentle beat pads every second with velvet. The doors open to a quiet hallway, carpet swallowing footsteps like clouds swallowing rain. You walk slower than usual, letting scent and trails spill silver patterns over your thoughts.
Each keystroke shivers delicately, like light skipping across the surface of a calm pool. Your breathing falls in between the kick and snare, a private rhythm nested inside another. Keys dangle loosely from your fingers, metal no longer clenched but swinging in easy arcs. The day's sharp voices blur into distant underwater echoes, mouths moving without sound or urgency. As you unlock the door, a soft swell of chords rises, welcoming, like someone turning on a lamp inside. The air feels cooler, touched by the distant hum of appliances and streetlight dust.
You place your bag down with ceremony, as if lowering an anchor. You finally intend to leave.
Overhead, the melody bends like a willow branch, graceful, elastic, refusing to snap.
Thoughts drift sideways instead of forward, sliding into gentle lanes where nothing speeds or collides.
You lean your forehead against the window, glass cool, world rearranged into smudge, halos and patient neon. Each exhale paints a brief ghost of breath which fades exactly when the chorus drops. Tension escapes through that fragile fog, leaving your chest lighter, your ribs newly spacious. The bridge arrives like a slow elevator in reverse, lifting your mood floor by glowing floor.
By the final refrain, even your spine feels taller yet softer. a reed swaying instead of a rod. Silence after the outro tastes clean, like cool water in your mouth, settling everything quietly.
Here the night holds you gently, far from earlier storms. Streetlights pulling quiet circles on the pavement as you walk home, steps finally unhurried. Headphones cradle your ears with a soft fusion of brush drums, airy pads, and low brass. Each element moves like a separate tide, yet together they smooth the shoreline of your mind. Your shoulders roll back, vertebrae stacking like calm books on a shelf after a long day. Breath finds its own tempo, no longer sinking to schedules, only to the gentle sway of sound. You notice the temperature of the night, cool on your cheeks, warm where your scarf rests. Cars at a distance, their noise filtered into harmless waves beneath the melody. Inside the song, a guitar leans towards soul notes, bending lazily, never insisting on resolution. The keys answer with jazz-tinged phrases, small questions that already contain their own comfort. The final street as the chorus swells, chest loosening as if unbuttoning an invisible code at your door. You pause, letting the last 4 bars wash over you completely. Each bar carries away another fragment of tension, like small boats leaving a crowded harbor. Inside, the room greets you with familiar shadows and the gentle hum of resting machines. You set your bag down, toes freed from shoes, arches meeting the forgiving floor. The outro drifts in on reduced drums and lingering chords, like a whisper goodnight inside your headphones. When silence arrives, it does not slam, it closes softly, like a book at the end of a story. Your breathing feels wider, deeper, a quiet instrument finally tuned to the key of evening. Somewhere under your palm, your heart answers with slow, steady phrases of relief. You stretch, spine unwinding, one vertebrae at a time. Listen to the gentle interior silence. Tonight, even your thoughts choose softer shoes. before the sun decides on a shade. A soft drone hums from the speaker by the window, steady as a distant engine. You lie awake, not restless, simply hovering between dreams and the day's slow beginning. The city arrive like fog rolling over hills, covering everything in a calm silver hush. Your heartbeat follows their patient swell, rising with the swell, falling with the fade. Sheets feel cool against your skin, a quiet reminder that your body has weight, yet can rest. Birdsong outside dissolves into the paths, reverb, nature and circuit sharing the same soft hallway. Every inhale gathers pieces of scattered sleep. Every exhale sets them gently back into the past. You let unfinished plans drift onto a shelf in your mind, to be chosen, not obeyed. The chime of a high note glitters above you like a small star caught indoors. Eyes trace cracks in the ceiling pane, slow rivers flowing nowhere in particular. Shoulders sink deeper into the mattress as tension loosens its last careful knots. You remember yesterday's rush, as if recalling a dream someone else described in hasty. Hear only the low pulse of sound, and your breathing agree to move at this pace. The bridge opens like a window in the sky. Sunlight arriving without burning, only warming. You imagine a hand resting over your heart, not to restrain but to reassure. In that invisible touch your ribs widen, welcoming air the way shores welcome tides. When the final tone thins into silence, the room does not feel empty, only wider. Morning is waited politely at the threshold. Now it enters, barefoot, slower, kinder and bright. You rise without rushing, carrying this softened rhythm into every doorway you will cross today and beyond gently. Oh, piano hums under the singer's hands, every chord a careful step on polished wood. You sit near the back, half in shadow, half in the amber spill of the bar. Ice clinks once in your glass, then settles, like thoughts finally choosing a quiet corner. The melody leans on minor turns, tender, patient, never asking your heart to hurry. Brush cymbals sound like distant rain on paper roofs, soft punctuation for each unhurried phrase. Your breathing mirrors the phrasing instinctively deeper on the rise, slower on the fall. Shoulders slip away from their invisible armor, fabric loosening where tension once stitched too tight. Voices at nearby tables dip to a murmur, respectful witnesses to the slow unraveling. The singer holds one note longer than expected, and in that stretch you feel space widen. Inside your chest, crowded memories shuffle politely, making room for a cooler, kinder air. Fingers trace the edge of the napkin, small circles drawn without mission or design. The saxophone enters like a friendly stranger, stepping into the story without changing its softness. Each phrase bends, then lands lightly, like feet on well-worn steps that never creak. You close your eyes not to escape, but to stand closer to the sound. Thoughts that once marched like soldiers now drift like autumn leaves, turning lazily before they rest. The bridge slips in on a different shade of blue, hopeful but never loud. You feel forgiven for every hurried goodbye you ever whispered to yourself. When the final chord resolves, it does not shout, it simply settles, a bird folding wings. Applause rises gentle and brief, then the room returns to its hushed, welcoming glow. You stay seated, riding the fading overtones like waves against a quiet shore. Something inside unclenches slowly, grateful for this unhurried, fragile mercy.
Ceiling fan turns in lazy circles, painting shadows that sway over the walls like slow tides. Your phone sleeps face down on the table, notifications muted into harmless, blinking stars. A muffled beat seeps from the speakers, wrapped in dust and tape hiss, warm as worn denim. You lie lengthwise across the couch spine, following the sunk shape of old cushions and memories. Air from the open window smells faintly of rain and sidewalks, cooling after heat. Each chord progression feels like a hand, smooth and rumpled fabric, press release, no hurry. Your Let your breathing to the rhythm, lungs expanding on the 4, releasing on the 2. Worries creep toward the doorway of awareness, then lose interest when the chorus lets the harmonies bloom. Your jaw forgets its job of holding every unspoken sentence. It drifts slack, harmless, unconcerned. Fingers skim along the seam of the couch, tracing stitched constellations that never needed naming. The bass guitar moves like a low tide under everything. Gentle, persistent, pulling tension back from the shoreline. Eyes blur at the edges, turning the ceiling into a watercolor wash of off-white peace. You remember a crowded train, a harsh afternoon. Voices lay you too loud, then watch it all dissolve. In this room, the only demand is that you stay exactly as you are, breathing. The bridge filters in with soft chords and distant claps, like comfort arriving from another apartment. You feel your heart answer with a slower pattern, a quieter arrangement of familiar notes. Regret curls up beneath the coffee table, tame and drowsy, no longer scratching at the door as the track fades. A last fragile piano phrase lingers, steps carefully into silence. What remains is the echo of ease, spread through your ribs like sunlight left behind for you.
Low trumpet sighs across the room, weaving through clanking cups and dim amber reflections. Your chair leans back a fraction, just enough for your spine to remember its own curve. The singer's voice glides like smoke over velvet, never forcing, only circling the edges of your thoughts. Candle flames perform their choreography, bending and straightening in time with the brushed snare. You wrap both hands around warm ceramic, feeling heat move slowly into knuckles, wrists, the small bones of your palms. Outside rain rearranges the city into soft vertical lines, blurring every hard outline you carried in. Each note hangs a moment longer than expected, inviting your breathing to match its unhurried descent. Shoulders drop with the second chorus, sliding away from the ears where worry had left them perched. The double bass murmurs near the floor, a low conversation your chest understands without translation. You taste citrus and honey on the rim of your glass, simple sweetness grounding you in this minute. Thoughts thoughts that used to shout now speak in lowercase. Gentle letters drifting across an invisible page. The bridge arrives like a door opening onto a hallway of quieter possibilities. You step through by closing your eyes, letting darkness fill with sound instead of doubt. Somewhere between piano chords, you forgive the day for all its clumsy entrances and unfinished sentences. The melody touches each tense muscle like a bartender placing coasters under shaking glasses. By the final refrain, your heart beats slower, matching the graceful arc of the singer's held note. Applause rises like soft rain on the roof, brief and harmless, then fades into relaxed chatter. You exhale a breath you did not know you were saving, and the room gently exhales with you. Somewhere deep inside, tension loosens, drifting out with the dim light.
Dim lamp flickers honey over cotton sheets, tracing slow rivers along your resting arms. A vinyl crackle threads itself between the chords, tiny embers of sound floating in the room. Your pulse falls into step with the muted kick, a soft thump that never pushes, only guides. Shoulders slide down the headboard as if gravity suddenly remembered how to be kind. The day has already taken off its shoes at the door, leaving its noise on the mat. In this hush, your name feels too heavy to say, so it just melts inside your mouth.
Breathing turns into a low harmony, chest rising on the offbeat, sinking when the snare sighs outside. Someone laughs on the street, bright and distant, but here everything speaks in undertones. The bass line moves like careful fingers over a bruise, reassuring without pressing too hard. Every note carries a small apology for all the times you held yourself too tight. Knuckles uncoil, no longer white with invisible effort. Palms open like slow flowers at dusk. Thoughts stop marching and start swaying. Hips of the mind rocking gently from side to side. The ceiling becomes a flowing shoreline where shadows lap back and forth in sleepy rhythms.
You feel a warmth spread under your sternum, not a blaze, just steady coals glowing. Each inhale gathers frayed pieces of attention. Each exhale lays them down in a single quiet pile. Somewhere in the second verse, you forgive yourself for not arriving sooner at this piece. The melody does not rush you, it waits at every corner with a patient smile. By the bridge, even your worries sound off-key and distant, forgotten lyrics from someone else's song. Night leans in closer, tucking sound around you like a loose, familiar blanket. Stay here, nothing sharp can reach you.